I stood on a small podium in a school hall, wearing a long Ankara dress that hugged my body like it finally belonged to me. The girls in front of me sat on wooden benches, their uniforms neat, their faces curious. Some smiled, some looked away. I saw myself in many of them. When I picked up the microphone, my hand shook a little. Then I began. I grew up in a house where words could hurt more than hands. I was a big child. My cheeks were round. My body came early. My skin was darker than my cousins. My nose was wide. My legs were thick. I didn't look like the girls people praised. At home, my aunties laughed when I walked past. "See her body," they said. "Who will marry this one?" Sometimes they didn't even lower their voices. At school, it was worse. Children can be cruel without knowing the weight of their words. They gave me names. They sang songs about my body when teachers were not around. Boys pretended to like me, then laughed with their friends when I believed them. I learned to look down when I walked. I learned to make myself small, even when my body was not. I learned to laugh with them so I would not cry. The abuse did not always come with shouting. Sometimes it came quietly, a hand where it should not be, a warning to keep quiet, a reminder that no one would believe a girl like me anyway. I carried that silence for years. It sat heavy in my chest. At home, when I tried to talk, I was told to endure. That's life. You are too sensitive. Be grateful you have food. So I kept everything inside. There were days I wished I could peel off my skin and start again. I avoided mirrors. I wore clothes that hid me. I believed every bad thing said about me because it felt easier than fighting it. But life has a way of placing small lights in dark places. For me, it was my mother's old sewing machine. It didn't work well, but I loved the sound it made. I started fixing old clothes, then making new ones from scraps. Ankara became my safe place. Bright colors, strong patterns, cloth that told stories without speaking. When I made dresses, I forgot my body, I forgot my fear. My hands were busy, my mind was calm. One day, a teacher saw me sketching during break. Instead of shouting, she asked to see it. She didn't laugh. She didn't compare me. She just said, "You have talent." That sentence stayed with me. After school, life was not suddenly easy. I still heard the voices. I still felt the pain, but I held on to that one truth. I had something of my own. I worked small jobs, I saved little money, I helped a tailor who paid me with knowledge instead of cash. Some days I went home tired and hungry. Some days I cried alone, but I did not stop. Years later, someone asked me to wear one of my own designs for a small show. I almost said no. Old fear rose up, but I went. I walked slowly, my legs shook. The lights were bright. Then I heard clapping. Real clapping, not laughter. That was the first time I stood tall without forcing myself. From there, things grew slowly. Not like magic, just step by step. More shows, more work, more belief. I learned to sit with my past instead of running from it. I learned that my body was never the problem. Now I stand here in front of you, not because I forgot what happened, but because I remember it clearly. I know what it feels like to be mocked by people who should protect you. I know what it feels like to carry shame that does not belong to you. I know what it feels like to think your story will end before it begins. But I also know this: your beginning does not get to decide your ending. I look at the girls in the hall again. Some of them are quiet, some are blinking fast, trying not to cry. I smile at them, not as a model, not as a success story, but as someone who survived. I didn't become strong because life was kind, I say softly. I became strong because I stayed. When I step down from the podium, a small girl with round cheeks holds my hand. She doesn't say anything. She just holds it tight. That is when I know my story has finally found its place.